think so. Call the meeting to order. The meeting for April 26, 2021 is now in session. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag led by past councilperson, Mr. Jared Farmer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will take the roll call. Councilperson Ginever. Here. Councilperson Schonberg. Present. Councilperson Becker.
Here, Your Honor.
Councilperson Fisher.
Here, Your Honor.
Councilperson Bradley. Absent. Councilperson Massa. Councilperson Osher.
Present.
And Councilperson Piccarello. Before I ask for the approval of the agenda, I would entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add discussion of the Great Streets Initiative under new business by Mr. Matt Urin, and also to add Mr. Steve Eisenbeis to serve on the Park Board as the fifth appointment.
I'll move to approve the agenda with those modifications.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. This time I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, has the agenda been posted, dated, filed, and or initialed? Yes, sir. And at this time, we'll open the meeting with the public hearing for a conditional use permit for 1224 North Truman Boulevard, and also the public hearing for there's a correction on your agenda. It says conditional use permit, but it is actually a lot subdivision for 106 Glennon Heights. Has anybody got any questions on the information that you've received on this? This has gone through planning and zoning, and they send it back to the council for the approval.
Where's Glennon Heights?
It's up there by the Novicia at the top of Crystal Heights Hill on the right-hand side, and people bought that property back there.
Oh, right next there or something?
Right.
Okay.
And they want to build a new house on it, but in order to build a house, they got to have a lot subdivision. So.
It was a several acre parcel, and they, I think when they bought it, they didn't realize that there was already a house on part of that parcel. So in order to build another house on it, you have to subdivide the lot. Pretty cut and dry.
Correct.
But it was actually two, I mean, the first one property is separate from that, right?
Right,
Yeah,
correct.
This is not the
Yes.
first one property.
Not the investment.
Has anybody got any questions on anything on that?
Is that the old Lash property? Yes.
Yes, yes it is. Rick, have you got anything to add or anything?
Just conditions that we, talked to Mr. and Mrs. Linville about. Those houses are on a grinder pump, the existing one is, with a forced main sewer. And also, they have to run out approximately to Crystal Heights to hook the sewer up and the water to be a private service. And they understand too that they have to have a paved driveway on the new house. The existing house is gravel right now. That's all I have to add.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to add anything to it or question anything about it?
We got rezone own this property? Is that whatever it is somewhere?
No,
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
And did we,
Go ahead and do that.
okay. If there was no other, questions about the, conditional use permit modification for 1224 North Truman, I'll move to approve that, replacement conditional use permit.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We'll move on to the minutes. Has everyone had the opportunity to review the minutes of March 22nd, 2021?
I'll move to approve those minutes from March 22nd.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Public comment, we have none. Check register and bills, financial report, sales tax report, Councilperson Becker and Madam Clerk.
I'll move to approve the check register and bills and the, financial reports in their entirety.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Committee reports. Annexation Committee. That would be,
Yep.
yes, okay, I'm sorry, Mike. Water Committee, Councilperson Picarella.
I don't have anything.
Public Welfare and Fire, Councilperson Fisher.
Chief's got a report in here, looks like they had 29 calls, and, the report's available for everybody.
Building Commissioner, Mr. Cox.
We've had 24 inspections, 12 building permits issued, 12 zero vehicle notices, 4 junk notices. Animal control, picked up 0 wild animals so far, 1 domestic animal, and 2 warnings, and with 10 traps set. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Street and street lighting, Councilperson Bradley, he is absent. There is a street department report in your packet to kind of let the council know what's going on in the street department. Police Department, Councilperson Schonberg.
I don't have anything, Chief, do you have something?
Chief?
Reports in the packet, if you might have any questions, I'll let that know.
Council liaison reports, Library Board, Councilperson Fisher.
2 things real quick. One, did you guys know the library's been operating continuously since 1916? I didn't know that. read that, looking up some of their information.
Wow.
And they will be back to regular hours on May the 1st. That's all I have.
Very good. Park Board, Councilperson Schonberg.
I don't have anything at this time.
Sewage Commission, Councilperson Picarella.
The only thing I have.
was, we approved a 3-year extension with Alliance to operate the sewer plant,
Alliance?
yes.
Okay, very good. And it seems like they've been doing fairly well.
I've got a copy. I'll get it to you.
Is that it, Mr. Picarella? Yes. Planning and Zoning, Councilperson Becker.
Nothing other than the matters that we voted on earlier, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Zoning of Appeals, Councilperson Ginever.
I don't have anything unless Mr. Cox or Diana has anything. Okay.
And Levy Commission, Councilperson Osher.
Nothing.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to, speak of anything on the previous meeting that we had in March? We'll go to old business, we have none. New business, we got to, motion to approve the election results.
We, move to the Great Streets Initiative first, so we can get
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, yep. Yeah, Mr. Unrein, you may have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of City Council, I come to you tonight, not only, an employee of the city of Festus, but I'm also looks like a Ward 4, resident. So, I'm happy to be sharing, the time with you this evening to talk a little bit about, the Great Streets Initiative. Before I worked for the city of, Festus, I worked for the city of Ferguson. It's a small community up in the northern part of St. Louis. Now, you've probably heard of Ferguson, I would guess. Well, aside from its notoriety in 2013, when I first started working there, we had just been awarded the Great Streets Grant, and we're beginning the process. It was a 2-year application process for Ferguson and Delwood. They were co-applicants like Festus and Crystal City have been. So we applied 2 times before we were successful. Jason and I, and with Greg's assistance, were able to, in some way, circumvent that process about. And the sidewalks and then inside the right-of-way, but this is going to look outside that right-of-way into our communities and going to give us, perhaps a vision of what it could be, our downtown respectively could be, if we were to enact some of the things that our community members and our business owners, really desire. And that's a different way of thinking about a street. If you ask an engineer to design you a street, it's gonna be a straight, flat street, as wide as you can fit in a right of way. And that's just how engineers do it. But this is a different opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to look at things from a community's point of view, the users, and ask them what
Matt, let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yes,
So I'm aware of you by reputation. I know a few, longtime Arnold City Councilmen that knew you back when you were working up there. And, here's my concern with this. It's not the money, because it's like, our split of $100,000 is not a meaningful amount of money in the city's budget. That's fine. What my concern is doing a long kind of, navel-gazing planning process, and then coming up with a plan for something that we don't have the funds to implement. We don't have the sales tax base that Festus has. Festus can afford to do things that Crystal City can't. We have a long list of things that we need to do, and really should have been doing for the last 20 years that we can't afford to do. So, I get it, and I like planning, I'm in favor of planning, but, my concern is we would get a result at the end that we may not be able to do anything with. Can you address that concern at all?
that's a legitimate concern, it is. And if, I'm not trying to be contrary, but if Festus had incentivized, now, I don't know the history, I just know the recent, near-term history, but near-term, I don't know of any significant, actually, I can say I don't know of any subsidies that were paid to any of the downtown businesses to develop or redevelop those sites. Now, I'm not sure how Mill and Main came about. You know, maybe there was some concessions that were given.
I think they got some, it's not the historic preservation tax credit, but it's some
Maybe a state.
large-scale investment in a particular historic property.
Right.
You can depreciate those investments very quickly, I think, that's one of the ways they were able to pay for that, but I don't think there was any local contribution.
Right. If it had been a TIF or a TDD or a CID and there'd been some cash, you know, they got $20,000 to invest in this property when, you know, good business sense told you it wasn't the right thing to do, the right place to do it. I would totally agree with you. That's what's so unreal about what's happening in our two communities, especially what's going on, to a majority in Festus. And that's why I think East West Gateway, latched onto our program, is because we were able to explain to them, and we walked the entire corridor from tip to tail, city hall to city hall. We showed you
marketing and branding a big part of it, which is what we severely lack anytime you go to Pizza Hut Festus. I mean, stoplight Festus, Crystal continues to make Festus good all the time. But we've lost our identity, we've talked about it, you know,
Yeah.
in the past, about getting stickers for Crystal City businesses. I mean, I think there's an opportunity in some of this branding, that could help us as well, because I can't tell you how many times you call somewhere, Sherwin-Williams Investments. I mean, we gotta get our identity back somehow, some way.
Yeah, 'cause they're even saying the hospital's in Festus. We had to call them on that one. No, it's not. And just recently, there was another one, you know, I don't wanna get into it, but it's aggravating, you know, to us, you know, so, I'm very proud of our identity, and I stand by it. And, I'll call anybody out on it. It just bothers me. And, you know, what really gets me is the people that are pronouncing this, they know. They're not gonna sit there and say, well, I didn't know. No, I don't buy that. I'm sorry, but I'll leave it alone. I'll shut up, you know.
Well, that can be part of the deliverables that we ask for is a brand identity for each community, whether it's with a unique, you know, banners that we put on the new light standards, or if it's, you know, different light standards. You know, one community has light standards that look one way, and then someone else, you know, has one that looks differently. Then if there's a visual cue, that's a big thing, you know, on a street like that, you don't know where the lines are, you know?
Right.
So speaking of where the lines are, what are the parameters of it? You said City Hall to City Hall, and can we branch out from Main Street and Bailey Avenue, or what? Are there any parameters to it? Can we just do anything we want?
Well, we walk basically from City Hall to City Hall. The max budget that we're told is $500,000. And I assume that $500,000 just captures City Hall to City Hall. If we went outside that, I would assume it'd be more money, and then it probably doesn't fall. I mean, I don't, we have to,
That's what you were selling to East West Gateway, right?
that's what they came down, City Hall to City Hall, yeah, under our Main Street. That's basically what they do. Now, when we got to the corner here, he was, you know, questioning the property behind City Hall, DPP property, they can incorporate, you know, use for that.
And then from that point, like you said, Tony, we don't know what we don't know. So whatever recommendations that they would make at that time, those recommendations may be something that we have to
the price is right, and I didn't mean to be dismissive of the idea. I've been part of one too many planning processes that result in a plan that goes on a shelf, that it doesn't excite me.
It's gonna start soon, they need an answer, and it's gonna fund things like by August.
Great.
That, in addition to everything else, that is, a relief to me, because that's not dragging it out, a
Yeah.
couple of years,
So we got a pretty aggressive schedule today that I didn't reply to because we started before you wouldn't be able to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
So I just let it go to see how this went tonight before I responded, like, you're gonna back up about 2 weeks. It may be just information needs one out of us, but.
We have a lot of stuff going on already. When you look at the stores and stuff that are coming into town, there's new places opening up just around my store on Main Street. There's 3 brand new businesses coming in, like they're remodeling and getting ready to open now.
We want a motion to, schedule a joint meeting with the city of Festus, or what do you want?
Yes, sir.
That's the next step.
I'll move to direct the city administrator to set that up.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Henry. Next thing on the agenda would be a motion to approve the election results,
So moved.
sent in by Mr. Ken Waller.
So moved if I can approve my own thing. Okay.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We will adjourn for sign die, and my wife has got cupcakes back there. I would like to also, at this time, is present Mr. Farmer to come forward. Mr. Farmer, I would like to present to you the Jared Farmer, Ward 4 councilperson in the city of Crystal City, 2018 to 2021. In appreciation for your dedicated service to the citizens of the city of Crystal City, efforts and dedication to the city of Crystal City has progressed in a positive direction. It is elected officials like you that make the city of Crystal City a better place to live, work, and play, and wish you well in your future endeavors. Mayor Tom Shelley, City Council, city employees, and the citizens of Crystal City. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll try to.
And the swearing in of the newly elected officials. Madam Clerk?
That's a good start.
All right, so you want to raise your right hand? I state your name.
I, Tony Becker,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess all the qualifications
that I possess all the qualifications
for the office of councilperson,
for the office of councilperson,
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Missouri,
and the state of Missouri,
the provisions of all laws of this state,
the provisions of all laws of this state,
affecting cities of this class,
affecting cities of this class,
and the ordinances of the city of Crystal City, so help me God.
and the ordinances of the city of Crystal City, so help me God.
Hold on real quick, let me get a picture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave them here,
Okay.
The next thing on the agenda is we have ordinance and resolutions. We have Bill number 1838-2021, amending Article 2, Section 2-21, first regular meeting of the year.
Mayor, can I assume that we're in owing to our reduced meeting schedule, we're wanting to pass all of these tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll make a motion to read Bill 1838-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the first reading by title only, please.
Bill number 1838-2021 on its first reading by title only, an ordinance of the city of Crystal City, Missouri, amending Article 2, Section 2-21, first regular meeting of the year to be set by ordinance.
I'll move to approve Bill 1838-2021 on its first reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve Bill 1838-2021 on its first reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
I'll move to read Bill 1838-2021 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1838-2021 on its second and final reading by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the second reading, please?
1838-2021 on its second and final reading by title only, an ordinance of the city of Crystal City, Missouri, amending Article 2, Section 2-21, first regular meeting of the year to be set by ordinance.
I'll I'll move to approve Bill 1838-2021 on its second and final reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve Bill 1838-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. I will poll the council. Councilperson Massa?
Yes.
Councilperson Pickerel?
Yes.
Councilperson Schonberg?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Becker?
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever?
Yes.
Councilperson Osher?
Yes.
Bill 1838-2021 now becomes ordinance 1838-2021. Is that correct, Madam Clerk? The next bill we have on the agenda is 1839-2021, establishing an order of business in Article 2.
I'll move to read Bill 1839-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Just, want to add that if this had been passed last month, we could have done all these ordinances in a flash. That's it.
Yep, you're correct. But it hadn't, so let's move on.
All right. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the first reading of 1839-2021, please, by title only.
Bill number 1839-2021 on its first reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, establishing an order of business in Article 2 of the Municipal Code of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, and establishing an effective date.
I'll move to approve Bill 1839-2021 on its first reading.
The motion been made and seconded to approve 1839-2021 on its first reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
I'll move to read Bill 1839-2021 on its second reading by title only.
The motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1839-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the second and final reading of 1839-2021, please, by title only.
Bill number 1839-2021 on its second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, establishing an order of business in Article 2 of the Municipal Code of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, and establishing an effective date.
I move to approve Bill 1839-2021 on its second and final reading.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to accept Bill 1839-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Bill 1839-2021 now becomes ordinance 1839-2021. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
I will poll the council. Councilperson Osher?
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever?
Yes.
Councilperson Becker?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Schonberg?
Yes.
Councilperson Pickerel?
Yes.
Councilperson Massa?
Yes.
The next bill on the agenda is 1840-2021. Enter into contract with Output Service Group Incorporated.
I'll move to read Bill 1840-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1840-2021 on its first reading by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the first reading of 1840-2021, please, by title only.
Bill number 1840-2021 on its first reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the Mayor, Thomas B. Shelley, to enter into a contract with Output Services Group to provide certain services and solutions, including print and mail fulfillment, electronic billing and payment processing, and posted marketing services, and other related services as described in Exhibit A, Scope of Services.
I'll move to approve Bill 1840-2021 on its first reading.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve 1840-2021 on its first reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
I'll move to read Bill 1840-2021 on its second reading by title only.
The motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1840-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Bill number 1840-2021 on its second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Thomas B. Shelley, to enter into a contract with Output Services Group to provide certain services and solutions, including print and mail fulfillment, electronic billing and payment processing, and hosted marketing services, and other related services as described in Exhibit A, Scope of Services.
I'll move to approve Bill 1840-2021 on its second and final reading.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to accept Bill 1840-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. I will poll the council. Councilperson Massa.
Yes.
Councilperson Piccarello.
Yes.
Councilperson Schonberg.
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher.
Yes.
Councilperson Becker.
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever.
Yes.
Councilperson Osher.
Yes.
Bill 1840-2021 now becomes ordinance 1840-2021. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
The next bill on the agenda is 1841-2021, enter in a contract with Joker's Paving and Contracting Company.
I'll move to read Bill 1841-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1841-2021 by title only on its first reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the first reading of Bill 1841-2021, please.
Bill number 1841-2021 on its first reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Thomas B. Shelley, to enter into a contract with Joker's Paving and Contracting for $31,770.40 to provide work on the alley beginning at 13th Street to the end of Kenner Street to address stormwater and drainage issues.
I'll move to approve Bill 1841-2021 on its first reading.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to approve 1841-2021 on its first reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
I'll move to read Bill 1841-2021 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1841-2021 on its second and final reading by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the second and final reading of 1841-2021 by title only, please.
Bill number 1841-2021 on its second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Thomas B. Shelley, to enter into a contract with Joker's Paving and Contracting for $31,770.40 to provide work on the alley beginning at 13th Street to the end of Kenner Street to address stormwater and drainage issues.
I'll move to approve Bill 1841-2021 on its second and final reading.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to accept Bill 1841-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. I will poll the council. Councilperson Osher.
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever.
Yes.
Councilperson Becker.
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher.
Yes.
Councilperson Schonberg.
Yes.
Councilperson Piccarello.
Yes.
Councilperson Massa.
Yes.
Bill 1841-2021 now becomes ordinance 1841-2021. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
The next bill we have on the agenda is 1842-2021. Enter into a contract with DNS Fencing Company.
I'll move to read Bill 1842-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1842-2021 on its first reading by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the first reading of 1842-2021, please.
Bill number 1842-2021 on its first reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Thomas B. Shelley, to enter into a contract with DNS Fencing Company for $106,060 to provide various fencing and at 110 Chestnut Street.
I'll move to approve Bill 1842-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to accept Bill 1842-2021 on its first reading by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
Move to read Bill 1842-2021 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
The motion been made and seconded to read Bill 1842-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the second reading of 1842-2021 on its second and final reading, please.
Bill number 1842-2021 on its second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Thomas B. Shilley, to enter into a contract with DNS Fencing Company for $106,060 to provide various fencing at 110 Chestnut Street.
I'll move to approve Bill 1842-2021 on its second and final reading.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to accept Bill 1842-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. I will poll the council. Councilperson Massa?
Yes.
Councilperson Piccarelli?
Yes.
Councilperson Schonberg?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Becker?
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever? Councilperson Osher? Yes. Bill 1842-2021 now becomes ordinance 1842-2021. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
The next bill we have on the agenda is 1843-2021. Enter into a contract with Bob Auto Striping Services.
I'll move to approve Bill 1843-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to accept Bill 1843-2021 on its first reading by title only.
I'm
Any
sorry.
further
We didn't read that, did we?
No.
I said approve, we should have said read. I'll move to read Bill 1843-2021 on its first reading by title only.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to read Bill 1843-2021 on its first reading by title only. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the first reading, please.
Bill number 1843-2021 on its first reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Thomas B. Shilley, to enter into a contract with Bob Auto Striping Services to perform striping at various locations in the City of Crystal City for $20,020.
I'll make a motion to approve Bill 1843-2021 on its first reading.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded to approve 1843-2021 on its first reading.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
I'll move to read Bill 1843-2021 on its second reading by title only.
Second.
The motion been made and seconded to read Bill 1843-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Madam Clerk, we have the second and final reading, please.
Bill number 1843-2021 on its second and final reading by title only. An ordinance of the City of Crystal City, Missouri, authorizing the mayor, Thomas B. Shilley, to enter into a contract with Bob Auto Striping Services to perform striping at various locations in the City of Crystal City for $20,020.
I'll move to accept Bill 1843-2021 on its second and final reading.
Second.
The motion been made and seconded to accept Bill 1843-2021 on its second and final reading. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. I will poll the council. Councilperson Massa? Councilperson Piccarelli?
Yes.
Councilperson Schonberg?
Yes.
Councilperson Fisher?
Yes.
Councilperson Becker?
Yes.
Councilperson Ginever? Councilperson Osher?
Yes.
Bill 1843-2021 now becomes ordinance 1843-2021. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir.
City Administrator's Report. You all have a copy of the City Administrator's Report?
We've got a couple things I need to discuss. The first one being the Missouri State Highway Patrol wishing to use the house we recently took over on Oak Landing SWAT training, no live ammo, kicking in doors, going around corners, that stuff. You didn't let me know that in the past, so, they've done similar on a house on, right next to, Red River on the Heights, also on VFW Drive. This is just owned by us, so I wanted to check with you guys before I told them.
They have live ammo, or is it?
No.
It seems fine to me as with the provision that they're not using live ammo, because there are other, houses in the area, you know.
Yeah, I can make sure that they know that.
I wouldn't think so.
They said they've agreed, fix the house, the doors back up, or post it, I think we went down to the when we shut, so we get it torn down, so they put it back how they were. I can ask them to notify the PD, if we get any calls prior to, which is typical, they typically do it anyway, so. I'll let them know that. Work session, we got several things we need to discuss, we probably need to have a separate one on the 17th. Everybody's okay with that, discuss at least those 4 things, and then maybe on the 24th, we'll have a Zoom call or in-person, discussion with Mr. Hubman from Great Streets. Does the 17th work? I think we got enough to dig into on those 4 things. The first meeting, the park board meeting, second meeting, or light meeting, third, and fourth of them was, I guess. Does that work for everybody?
Well, we think that is May.
May 17th, we'll have one to discuss at least those top 4 things. I'll see what works for Festus, but they have their meeting second, fourth, so I'm thinking probably the 24th, we could do something joint with that guy. Great Street. Unless they want to do something on the 17th.
Well, on your sheet here, you say, or after the meeting on the 24th, do you think that's just too much for one day? You want to split it up?
It's up to you guys. I'm here all day, so I don't mind being here all night.
It'll be at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we could.
I think that's a lot of stuff to get done in one night. I think the Great Streets Initiative probably ought to be its own separate meeting.
I agree. On the 17th, yeah, I'd like that.
So I'll set it up, at least those 4 things on the 17th. We'll see how it works for Festus to do the call with, Great Streets Initiative, and we'll go from there. The last thing I had was the proposal to pave outside around the complex, the new public works complex. The mayor and I have been down there quite a bit. The road is absolutely trashed. It has pictures to, I think, your packet, quite a bit about
you
Yeah,
know.
I wish we could, but I just stopped there because I think
Well, I think,
I think all that traffic's probably gonna eat up that street pretty bad, so maybe.
we can go there, just have them replace the bad curves. If we wanna do that, and then we can go back and then,
Well, I'm just saying, if we let it go for a couple of years, we're probably gonna have to replace it, and that might be a good time to replace it.
we can do it.
well, right, but you're gonna have to, say we pave it, you're gonna have to replace it. The sidewalks when they crumble away, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, if we put the curb in and just close the sidewalk off and then
All I was thinking is, you're gonna have a lot of traffic through there, more so than you used to. Does it make sense to have a really nice street, and then 100 yards is kind of rough patch, and then a nice street
right.
No, that's a good point, but,
while you're mobilized anyway?
right.
I can have them give me a quote and see what they think, and just, you know, how much more is really involved.
I think it'd be worth asking the
Yeah, well,
question.
people when they're tear a bunch of this stuff out, then come back for years from now and do it again.
Right.
That's what I don't wanna do.
Right.
I mean, if we know we're gonna do it in 3 years, then,
But we could add it to that scope of services, you know,
well, that's what I mean. If we know we're gonna do Bailey Road in 3 years, you know, let's just hold off and do it right.
the rest of that road isn't terrible.
Right,
The
right,
sidewalks and all that.
right.
We're gonna have a large scope of that.
And I'll agree with you, and Mr. Pickrell and anybody else that we need to move them sidewalks to the west side instead of the east side along that fence, 'cause you're really gonna have to shore that up there if you don't.
Broadway, it turns right hand thing.
Yeah, that's Broadway.
Need to get over there at some point.
Right.
When you do that, you can do the ADA entrances and in front of the bank and
Yep.
do all that, that's gonna be a big one. Because we probably need to widen some of those roads right that way and check that.
Yep.
Everybody's okay, I'll just go, I'll bring an ordinance back for approval, but if you tell me to go ahead, I'll go ahead and let me do it when they're there, probably about 3 weeks out.
Okay. Can I ask a question real quick about the fencing that we just approved? Is that all for the dog kennel?
No, the kennel has been completed, I'm behind on this ordinance, but they showed up sooner than I thought they would. So the kennel inside and outside runs are complete.
Okay.
The only thing that's remaining is the perimeter fence and the slats, 2 gates. So we're gonna do that after Joker's.
But that's what this fencing ordinance was about, right? Okay.
Yep. Kennel looks really good, they,
Pictures of that, that'd be something good to put on the website.
I will, it's not done, when it's done, probably by the next meeting, we can, if we're done early, we can all go down and take a look at everything.
Yeah, it does, looks good. Did you take care of that little bit of fencing that we talked about the other day? You know where that, what was it, a stray cat or something got in? Okay,
Yep, they put a bar in between.
okay, very good.
So if I can get somebody to give me the approval for the, Chestnut Center Street.
The overlay? Yeah. I move to approve, Jason Jackson overlay on Center Street.
Second.
The motion been made and seconded to approve the, overlay on the street that the, what street was that, Jason? Center Street in Chestnut. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried.
That's all I have, most of my thinking.
Jason, can we talk about the, ARP money a little bit? So, you and I had talked about this a little bit, and I had really wanted to, you know, of course, we had that, pavement study done several years ago, and they identified that we really should be spending about twice as much annually on our roads as what we do. And I was kind of hoping that we could use some of this money to get a start on doing some of that work, because the longer we wait on some of these projects, the worse off it gets. And, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but,
Well, you are.
I'm sorry. We, I mean, kind of similar to the things I was saying earlier, like, we know we have things we know we need to do. We also are gonna need these capital expenditures, but when we have it concerns me that we're buying a bunch of trucks and things like that, even though I know we need them, because if we can't do some of this road work when we get a big pile of money dropped in our lap, when are we ever gonna be able to do it? Like, we need some kind of a plan to be able to keep those streets up to standards.
Don't you have a map on some streets?
This year, we're gonna do Second Street down to Fifth Street.
Right.
I believe what Tony's talking about is, and I agree, I think we all agree, the condition of our streets, and we all knew in the past 10 or 15 years, doing these STP projects, the other streets would get neglected. And then the hard freeze and culverts here did not help us at all. A normal little pothole blew into, and, you know, an entire section of the size of the room had to get fixed. So, like I told Tony, you know, we have a multi-million-dollar road problem, and $850,000 isn't gonna take it. Right, that's obviously that's one thing. I think we have a bigger issue. There is an infrastructure bill being discussed.
I guess let me say it this way, my support for spending a windfall on the priorities that you've identified here is with the understanding that not having to spend that money out of our normal budget in the next year or two is gonna enable us to do some other stuff that we normally wouldn't have been able to do. Okay.
Yes.
And we can try to
Do
throw.
you agree?
Yep.
You know, like Tony, you know, let's just say, $100,000 of this money or extra money that, since we're buying some of this stuff, will free up the general fund. You know, that, as you can see, is gonna get us about a block and a half, 2 blocks maybe. So, and on the price of crude oil, we just don't get very much in road tax. And we only have one road tax. We're the only community that has one road tax. Every other community around the Nino has at least countywide plus their own. I guess we have trash tax that nobody else has, so that was our trade-off, or I don't know. But $350,000 is about what we bring in road tax money each year from the county, and it just doesn't go very far.
Right. So $350,000 sounds like a lot of money, but when you go to pave roads, it's not.
No, it's not.
We could spend twice that every year and still just barely be keeping up, and at the end of 20 years, we have to start all over again.
So I don't have a good answer, a good solution to
Mayor's report. I would like to, recommend for the approval of new park board members is Mario Carranza, Marcia Decker, Stuart McMillan, Steve Eisenbeis, and Jacob Massa to be appointed to the park board.
I'll move to approve the mayor's appointments.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? One abstain. Did you get that, Madam Clerk? The other thing, I would like to entertain a motion for Mr. Osher to be the Park Board liaison and Ms. Schonberg to be the Levy Commission liaison.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. I will go to the, round table for comments. Councilperson Massa? Councilperson Pickerel? Councilperson Schonberg? Councilperson Fisher?
No, sir.
Councilperson Becker?
I said enough, but I do want to thank Mrs. Shelley for bringing the refreshments this evening.
Councilperson Ginever?
I have nothing.
Councilperson Osher?
Nothing, sir.
Chief Helms?
No, sir.
Mr. Cox left. Mr. Eisenbeis?
Welcome everybody back, appreciate everybody's confidence in us. Jerry, thank you, appreciate your time, sir, enjoy working with you. See you all next month.
Madam Clerk? And Mr. Farmer, do you have anything?
If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to thank everyone again for putting up with me for the last 2 years. Me a few things. Jason, thank you for all your help. Mr. and Ms. Mayor, thank you for the refreshments, and I wish everyone the best of luck moving forward. Thank you.
And you too, Mr. Farmer. We appreciate your task at hand and what you've done. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. We are adjourned.